Welcome. We're back.
All right. Episode 8.
Welcome to our scary stories. So, if you're new here, hello. If you're not, welcome back. Just gonna give you a quick rundown. Basically, me and Minx here. Oh, by the way, I'm Vatii. Sorry, I'm terrible at introducing myself. I
I'm
forgot.
Minx.
Listen, if I didn't mess something up, it wouldn't be normal. Basically, we each are gonna pick a short, scary story. Sometimes not so short. A lot of it we find is from the No Sleep Reddit, r/No Sleep, and neither of us know the stories that we're gonna read to each other. And we're gonna tell each other a couple stories, and we're gonna let you listen in.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, I think I'm gonna start this week.
You are going to be starting, I believe. We'll be starting and ending with the same author, actually, which is a nice little twist for the episode.
And we're going to have a little bit of information on a new series we might be doing at the end, so make sure you stick around for that.
Exactly.
But anyways, let's get into it. Are you ready?
I am ready. I have my popcorn. I have my notes. Dazzle me.
All right, the first story I'm going to read tonight is called A Flash Flood Hit Our Neighborhood, but there was something much worse in the rain. And the story is by CaveLice. We've featured them before on here. We actually have 2 stories for them tonight, so enjoy. Our house is going to flood, my wife said, staring out the water, struggling to believe what was happening. The rain had started at 4 p.m. My wife and I had been at the cinema watching a romantic comedy. About 30 minutes in, our babysitter texted us, "The water in your street is backing up. You need to come home." Sure enough, when we reached our place, the water was up to our driveway. The culverts hadn't drained, and a home across the street was already flooded. "I've never seen this big of a storm," my wife said, shielding her eyes. Me neither. According to the reports, an entire month's rain had fallen over our city. The deluge was so thick you could barely see while driving. It was a nightmare. I left my wife at home with the kids and drove to the store to pick up some sandbags. By the time I had returned, 2 more houses had flooded. "We may need to evacuate," a neighbor shouted, trudging past me in a yellow rain suit. He poked a rake into one of the culverts, hoping to free whatever was blocking it. I finished shoring up my property and thought about our next-door neighbors. They were in their late 70s and had no one to look out for them. I hurried back to the door and popped my head inside. "Hey, babe, I'm gonna go check on Jim and Stacy." "All right, don't be long." I waited down the sidewalk. The wind was stronger now and the rain fell in sheets. The cars that drove by sent knee-high waves up to our yard. I hadn't had time to change into galoshes or waterproof clothes, so my jeans and hoodie were soaked. I sloshed on, wondering, how much worse will it get? Turns out, a lot more. I reached Jim and Stacy's after a few knocks. The door opened. Jim stood before me, grinning like a drunk teenager. "Hey, Jim," I said, trying to sound louder than the storm. "I wanted to check on you 2. Are you all right?" "Yes, Dave. Stacy and I have never been better." I glanced inside. His clothes were dry and the interior showed no signs of flooding. I turned back to the street, now fully submerged. "It's raining pretty hard. Callie and I are worried. Do you need help packing or—" "Oh, no. Stacy and I couldn't be happier." "Happier?" My eyes locked onto his. "I don't think you understand. If the culverts don't drain soon, we'll have to evacuate. Stacy and I aren't going anywhere. We've already talked to the rain whisperer. He says the waters will recede." "The rain whisperer?" "Stacy's been with him for hours. When the storm first started, we were concerned. But she went out and talked to him, and everything's fine. You can go back and tell Callie to relax." I furrowed my brow, not believing this conversation. "Listen, I'm worried that you're not taking this seriously. If you just pack something up so my wife and I can get you out of here. The water's deep, but our truck should make it out." "You don't understand. If the rain whisperer says the flood will stop, it will stop." I felt insane, but I had to find out what Jim was talking about. So I asked him point blank, "Can I see the rain whisperer?" "Yes." I followed him to the side gate and ventured in. When we reached the back porch, I was stunned to see Stacy wearing summer clothes and flip-flops. "Nice to see you, Dave." She embraced me. "Have you come to see the rain whisperer?" "I guess so." "He's just behind that shed. Go on and see for yourself." I swung my gaze and spotted a vine-colored fence. Next to it was a garden shed. "Just head on back there. He's there." I shook my head in disbelief. The water was ankle deep in some parts of the yard, so I hopped from one elevated spot to another. When I reached the fence, I noticed a 3-foot walkway existing between it and the shed. The path went out about 5 feet, then turned right, leading back behind the building. That must be where the rain whisperer is. I clenched my fist and wandered in. It wasn't long before I reached the end of the pathway and turned the corner. That's when I saw him. He was short, maybe 5 feet, had worn skin and yellow nails. His hair was wet, and his outfit resembled an old fisherman's raincoat. He looked like a man who'd been lost at sea for years. "Have you come to see the rain whisperer?" he said, his voice as hard as gravel. Yes, I responded, trying to sound brave. "I'm just checking because Jim and Stacy said someone was back here." "I am back here. Now what's it you need?" I was so shocked by his presence. He seemed homeless, like someone had struck a deal with my neighbors to live on their property. But there was something off about his voice. It seemed otherworldly. "Listen, I don't know who you are or what's going on, but there's a flood happening right now, and we may need to evacuate." "Nobody's going to evacuate. The rain will subside. You can return home and tell Callie that everything is safe." "Callie?" The utterance of my wife's name nearly dropped me. "How do you know her name?" The man looked at the sky. "I know lots of things, like how you cheated on your wife 6 years ago. She's never forgiven you for it." I clutched my chest, feeling heavy. What?" "You repented and done years of counseling, but she'll never forgive you. In fact, you might as well end things now. She hates you." I balled my fist, enraged. This stranger, who seemed to be no more than a vagrant, had seen the darkest parts of my soul and exposed them like a voyeur. I sank to my knees. I noticed a jagged boulder half buried in the mud. I pried it loose and stood, quickly hiding the rock behind my back. "What makes a man cheat, anyways?" the rain whisperer mused. "I've watched you humans for generations. Your sins mystify me." When he lowers his gaze, I noticed coldness. His eyes held an iciness I had never seen. He motioned to the hand that was still concealed behind my back. "You can bash me over the head with that, but it won't make any difference. You'll still be the monster that betrayed your family, your wife, and yourself." I leapt forward and slammed the rock against his scalp. When I came back to the porch, Jim and Stacy were waiting for me. "Did you see him?" Stacy asked. "Was he back there?" I thundered past them, silent, still clutching the boulder. Jim scanned my hand and the makeshift weapon. "Oh, what's that?" he asked, panicking. "What did you do?" When I reached our house, I was delusional. I tried opening the door, but my fingers were slick with crimson. I shakily raised a fist and punched the doorbell. Ding dong. My wife, Callie, answered. "Oh, God," she said, dragging me in. "You look terrible." I stood in the entryway, dripping all over the towels she had placed on the floor. "The kids and I are all packed and ready. I called my dad and asked if we could stay the night." I glanced around. Bags and towels were draped over furniture. Children's toys littered the floor. "David, are you listening to me?" The rock was still in my hand. I let it fall. "David, what's going on?" "Kelly," I said, my face turning beet red, "I need to ask you something. Can you ever forgive me?" "David, I don't see why this is relevant. Please just answer me." Rain thrummed the roof. It sounded like footsteps shifting in frantic motions. My wife looked at me with heartache in her eyes. "I want to, David, but it hurts so much. I'm sorry." She backed away. I slumped my shoulders in defeat. "I told you," the rain whisperer's voice echoed in my brain. I jerked upright. "Did you hear that?" "Hear what?" "The rain whisperer knows all. Because the rain whisperer sees all." It sounds like it's coming from... I sprinted to our son's bedroom, shouldered open the door. My stomach flip-flopped as I saw the rain whisperer, sitting on our rocking chair, cradling our 1-year-old son, who was fast asleep. "Oh my God, who are you?" my wife screamed, shoving past me. "What are you doing in our house?" The man was still drenched and had a deep gash on his scalp. Fresh blood dribbled down his raincoat. "The rain will stop," he hissed, rocking our son gently. "Don't you worry." "Get out!" My wife leapt forward and grabbed our son. But as soon as she made contact, Violet's scream exploded from her body. She hit the floor, spasming, as if hit by electricity. Rain Whisperer stepped over her. "I'll be back behind the shed if you need me." I lunged at him. I felt a searing pain light my fingers. I fell back against the wall, clutching my wrist as the Rain Whisperer passed me. "This child has a strong sense of character. I will train him up in the way he should go." Without another word, He stepped into the hall, and I heard him open the front door. I'm not sure how long my wife and I lay there, but when we got up, an ear-splitting scream erupted from outside. The rain! It stopped! It sounded like Stacy. I pulled myself up and followed Callie to the hall. Our daughter was crying in the other room. We left her there and dashed to the front door, determined to find our boy. When we got outside, the street was free of water. The culverts and lack of rain had done the trick. In the middle of the street, Stacy and Jim were dancing. The rain whisperer was with them, holding our son in his palms, like he was presenting a sacrifice to the heaven. David, do something, my wife screamed. I turned and grabbed the rock I had dropped in our entryway. It was still wet from the rain. The rain whisperer is gone. I bashed him over the head and made sure he stayed down. Jim and Stacy have fled to another state. My family is safe, for the time being. But every now and then, when I hear the rain, I remember his voice and my guilt, and I wonder if he'll ever come back. Yeah.
Ooh. That was...
Just like the random homeless man behind the shed. He's like, yeah, it's the rain. It will stop. I'd be like, all right, crazy old man. I don't know if I would have hit him with a rock, but I've been like, somebody's been looking through my windows.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get
it. Yeah. Well, I wonder who he was.
I know, right?
He almost sounds like a god or something. I don't know. Creepy. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
All right. I think it's your turn now, yeah?
Yes. I have one from Fvrdreem. We have featured this author before. Always some really quality work, and this one's gonna be, I found my mom's diary hidden behind the water heater. It says we died in a car wreck 4 months ago. So Are you ready?
I'm ready for the mystery. Let's go.
Alrighty. I'm typing this with hands that don't feel like mine anymore. Every time I hit a key, I expect my fingernails to just pop off. I'm currently locked in the guest bathroom of my childhood home. It's the only room with a heavy brass deadbolt, and I can hear them shuffling outside. Leo, honey, the stew is getting a skin on it, my mom calls out. Her voice has this rhythmic licking quality to it now, like a beetle's wings. Don't you want to grow up big and strong? I need to get this out before my phone dies, or before they find the spare key. Please, if anyone is reading this, tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I'm having a psychotic break. But I found the diary, and the diary doesn't lie. I moved back home 6 months ago. My parents, Elena and Marcus, were the golden couple of our neighborhood. Mom was the type to drop off sourdough starters to neighbors. Dad was the high school football coach who still gave those rib-cracking bear hugs. Everything seemed perfect at first, but looking back, the signs were screaming at me. First, it was the house temperature. We live in Maine. It's November, but the furnace hasn't been on once. The house stays a constant, bone-chilling 41 degrees. Mom says the cold is good for the complexion. She walks around in these sheer floral sundresses, her skin looking like blue-veined marble. Then there's the sound. They don't walk anymore, they drag. A wet, heavy slap, hiss sound on the hardwood floors, and the humming. Mom hums this low, vibrating tune that seems to come from her chest, not her throat, and the flies. God, the flies. Great, fat, black bottles that cluster in the corners of the ceilings. Dad just sits in his recliner, watching static on the TV while they crawl across his lips. He doesn't even twitch. I was looking for a flashlight in the basement this morning when I saw a corner of leather sticking out from behind the old water heater. It was Mom's diary. The cover was damp, smelling of wet earth and copper. I'm going to transcribe the entries that broke me. August 14th. The brakes screamed. That's the last thing I heard before the oak tree split the car in half. I watched Marcus's head hit the dashboard. It sounded like a ripe melon dropping on concrete. My own legs were somewhere else. I felt the cold coming for us, but then he appeared, the man in the gray suit. He stood in the wreckage and whispered that a family shouldn't be torn apart. He gave us the soil. He said as long as we keep the vessels full of fresh life, we can stay. It tastes like old pennies and bile, but I can hold Marcus's hand again, even if his hand is a little loose at the wrist. September 20th. Marcus's skin is starting to slip. I had to use the industrial staple gun on his lower back today to keep the suit from sagging. He laughed, but a puff of gray dust came out of his mouth. We need more than just squirrels and crows now. The man says we need vitality. We're waiting for Leo, our sweet Leo. He's coming home on Friday. He'll be the anchor. We just need to make sure he stays. October 31st. Leo noticed the smell. I told him it was the compost, but it was really the neighbor's golden retriever, Goldie, rotting in the crawl space. We couldn't use Oliver at once. The marrow keeps our eyes clear. Marcus says he misses the feeling of a heartbeat. I told him to be patient. Once Leo joins us, we won't have to pretend to breathe anymore. It's so exhausting, the pretending. After reading that, I ran upstairs, my head spinning. I burst into the kitchen. Mom was standing at the counter preparing dinner. Mom, I gasped. What happened in August? The car accident? She stopped humming. She didn't turn around, but her head tilted at a sickening 90-degree angle. I heard a loud crack of vertebrae. We don't talk about the accident, Leo. It's rude to dwell on the past. She turned then. A large piece of her cheek had simply flowed off. It was hanging by a thin thread of gray sinew, swaying like a pendulum. Underneath, there was no blood, just a hollow cavity packed with that dark, damp soil she mentioned in the diary. She reached into a pot on the stove, a pot of beef stew that had been simmering all day. She pulled out a handful of gray, dripping meat and offered it to me. Eat, honey. You're looking so animated. It's distracting. I looked into the pot. Floating on the surface among the grease and the foam was a human ear. It had a small diamond stub in it, the same one our neighbor, Miss Gable, wore every day. I backed away, gagging, and ran right into my father. His bear hug wasn't warm. It was like being pressed against a bag of wet sand. As he squeezed me, I heard a squelching sound. A dark, viscous liquid, black as motor oil, began to leak from his pores, staining my shirt. Don't run from your mother, Leo, he rumbled. His jaw didn't move quite right. It hung unhinged on the left side, swinging like a broken gate. We've worked so hard to keep this family together. Do you know how much thread it takes to keep a man's torso attached to his hips? I managed to shove him. His skin felt like wet, cold dough under my palms, and again I bolted for the bathroom. I've been in here for 3 hours. The scratching on the door is getting louder. It's not nails anymore. It sounds like bone on wood. Leo, Dad's voice is a wet rattle. Open the door. The transition is easier if you don't fight it. The man is coming back tonight for the final stitching. I leaned over the sink to splash cold water on my face, trying to wake up from this nightmare. But then I looked in the mirror. Truly looked. I remembered the car ride, August 14th. I was in the back seat. I remember the tree. I remember the smell of gasoline and the side of my father's head folded like a piece of paper. I looked at my own throat in the mirror. There was a thin, jagged line running all the way around my neck. I picked at it with a trembling finger. The skin didn't hurt, it just unzipped. Inside the wound, there wasn't a windpipe or veins. There was only a thick black twine, neatly stitching my head to my shoulders, and there, packed into the gap, was the same dark graveyard soil. I'm not the missing piece because I'm alive. I'm the missing piece because I'm the only one who hasn't realized he's rotting yet. The scratching has stopped. Leo? Mom whispers through the keyhole. I can hear your stuffing falling out, dear. Come out and let Mommy fix you. I'm looking at the window. It's a long drop, but if I jump, will I even break? Or will I just burst apart like a dropped bag of groceries? I don't know what to do. What do? Do I jump, or do I let her sew me back together? Update. I'm losing my mind. Mom just slid a 6-inch upholstery needle under the door. It's dripping with that black, oily sludge, and she's whispering through the wood about how loose my neck looks. She says she just needs to tack me down so I don't wander off. The sound from the hallway has changed. Dad isn't using his hands to knock anymore. It sounds like he's just swinging his head against the door. Every time he hits it, I hear a wet, squelching sound, like a bag of mud hitting a wall. I'm standing on the toilet now, reaching for the window latch. My hands are gray, and when I move my wrist, I can hear the dirt shifting inside like a sandbox. I'm going to jump. It's a 12-foot drop to the driveway. If I hit the pavement and I don't break, or if I don't bleed, I guess I'll have my answer. If my phone survives the fall, I'll update you. The end. Yep.
Did a little grosser one there.
I did.
You're evolving.
I know. You've infected me with it. Okay.
It's so good.
And it just.
All right. Yeah,
I'm
that
so
one was.
sad about the neighbor's dog, though.
Yeah, I know. Also, who names their
bitch? But like,
who names their dog Goldie when they're Golder? Come on, man. Come on. You can do better than that.
There's just good. But yeah, it is a little grosser. But I figured you would really like it.
I did enjoy that. It was good.
Well, good. I'm glad.
It's all right. It's like we're doing opposites today. It's opposite day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you ready for my next one?
I'm ready.
All right. So this next story I'm going to be reading is written by, you can find them on Reddit at Let's Split Up, or they also go by Quincy Lee. The title of the story is, I saw a creepy painting for sale online. I did not order it, but it arrived on my doorstep, and now I can't get rid of it. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm so excited to see this new author. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got some good stuff. There was another one I wanted to read, but it's been claimed. So that's okay. Their other stuff is really good. So, all right.
I look forward to it then.
All right, let's go. I did not order the painting. Let's get that out of the way right now. I was mildly buzzed, yes, but not so inebriated that I'd mistakenly click buy now and order the scariest painting I've ever seen in my life. Like most people, I like to look at stuff I'd never buy online. Last month, it was a house that I can't afford on Zillow. This month, it's paintings. If I really like one, I might save it and make it my desktop theme. That's the extent of my commitment to supporting art. See, I'm too poor to afford to deck my walls in original artwork, even if I wanted to order a painting, which I didn't, especially not this painting. It showed a figure in Impressionist style, sort of like famous Munich, The Scream. Crossed with the style of Rembrandt, the figure all cloaked in darkness except for the illumination on the face. The face was the most horrifying part, a fleshy patchwork of light in an otherwise dark canvas, featureless, indistinguishable, like a nightmarish figure out of a dream. I remember staring at my phone for several long minutes, zooming in on that figure, wondering what it was about, the non-quite humanness of it that made it so creepy. Even through the phone screen, even with no eyes, I could swear I felt it watching me. I took a screenshot, sent it to some friends, asking if it wasn't the creepiest thing they'd ever seen in their lives. That conversation quickly devolved into us sending lots of scary art pictures back and forth, like classic paintings of spooky children, disproportionate babies, a little Boche, and so on. Fast forward 3 days. There's a package on my doorstep waiting for me when I get home, wrapped in brown paper. I tear open the paper packaging, and it's the painting. That painting. The featureless smear of the face stares at me from the dark canvas. It looks so fleshy I could almost sink my fingers into it. Now, I assumed, of course, that someone ordered the painting for me as a joke, but none of my friends would admit to it. The conversation turned into teasing me about being cursed. To me, this was just further evidence that one or all of them were playing what they thought was the world's most hilarious prank. To me, this was just further evidence that one or all of them were playing what they thought was the world's most hilarious prank. And, honestly, I thought it was kind of funny too. So, I went along. I hung the cursed painting in my living room. And with that, it should have gone down in the book of my life as a mildly amusing footnote, something to tell guests about whenever they came over to my home and asked what the hell that creepy painting was on the wall. But a week after it arrived, I was sitting at my desk working when I swear I heard a quiet rustle. And you know how you can feel it when someone in your periphery is staring? The sensation's so strong, I turned around and I almost screamed. The painting had eyes, and they were watching me. And I swear to God, I swear to you on everything holy, it blinked. Maybe the blink was just my imagining, but it definitely had newly painted eyes that were in its fleshy, impersonate blotch of a face. Smears of darkness with just a tiny hint of light reflecting from them. Of course, I snapped a photo and sent it to my friends, and, of course, they all assumed I painted the eyes on myself. Even I had to admit, when I got up close, it was clear that the new paint had been applied on top of the original. I sent another text to the group. All right, which one of your jokers has been in my house? Denials all around. Maybe it was a prank, I thought. Most of my close friends know where I keep my spare key. But the painting kept changing. The changes were so subtle I honestly didn't notice it at first. Even when I did, I assumed it was whoever had pranked me by buying the painting, that they were adding brushstrokes whenever I got get-togethers. It's almost become normal, the way I'd see new additions, just a little at a time. We often joked about it, everyone wondering who the mystery artist was, who kept adding the details. My friends would later tell me, all honestly though, they thought it was me. What really started to creep me out was when the changes to the painting made it look like me. One day, I woke up and walked out to a creepy impersonation portrait of myself and decided enough was enough. I took the painting off the wall, dragged it downstairs to the dumpster, and tossed it in. Good riddance. But when I came back from work, it was back on its place on the wall. I was beginning to question my sanity. I tossed it out again, but the next morning when I woke up, it was back on the wall, and its lip was curled, like it was smiling. I had to go to work, and since I didn't want to run down to the dumpster again, I just turned it around so it was facing the wall. At least that way it couldn't watch me. When I came home from work, I considered trying to throw it away one more time, or burn it. But I was so exhausted after a long day, and since it was still facing the wall, its eyes no longer following me, I left it there and had dinner and spent the evening scrolling through images of exotic plants, my newest fixation. Decided I would deal with the creepy curse thing in the morning. I did notice, though, as I was getting ready for bed, that it was crooked. I straightened it on the wall and went to bed. In the middle of the night, I was woken by a loud crash. When I rushed out to see what had caused it, I found that the painting had fallen from the wall. Its frame was cracked. Frowning, I nudged it with my toe, flipped it over. The canvas on the other side was torn and empty. Completely empty. There was no figure in the painting. And suddenly I had that feeling again so strong, that feeling of eyes. I backed into the corner of the living room, scanning all corners of my apartment. The sofa, the table, the kitchen area across the open bar, the windows. Where were the eyes watching me from? Where? Where? I was still standing there with my heart hammering like I was about to go into cardiac arrest, looking in disbelief at the broken painting and wondering what was going on when tum, 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 this patter of footsteps and a click. My bedroom door had just closed. Immediately I called the police to report an intruder. But while I was on the phone with the dispatcher, trying to not sound like insane while I described the painting and the figure it was missing from, suddenly it struck me that this might be one more part of the prank. That one of my friends, the one who had been making alterations to the painting, could have snuck in to make some final adjustments. And maybe after they accidentally knocked the painting off the wall and caused the crash, they ran into my room to hide from me. Not entirely plausible, but neither were the fears I was babbling to this 911 operator. She assured me that they'd send someone out. I think she assumed I was high as a kite, but also that it was better to be safe than sorry. Or maybe she just thought I needed a wellness check. I'd have thought so too, after being on that call with me. While waiting for their arrival, in case it was a prank, I steeled myself and went to the bedroom door. Then, just to be on the safe side, I grabbed a kitchen knife. A knife I swore I wouldn't use unless I knew for sure it wasn't one of my friends. And then I went back to the bedroom door, shoved it open, and brandished the knife while yelling. Standing next to my bed was my reflection. No, not my reflection, but that's what it looked like. It was me. But the hair was messier, like the brush strokes weren't quite finished, and the clothes weren't quite right, almost a strange mix of everything I wore put together. Like the painter couldn't decide on which outfit, so he went with all of them. But the smile was sharp enough, as were the eyes. And the not me looked at me and raised its hand. In that hand, it held a painted version of my knife. Shit, I gasped. Shit, its lips imitated. I don't know which one of us lunged first. Probably the painted me. Real me was just standing there in shock. Next thing I knew, I felt a thunk of an impact in my stomach. And then, I don't even know how to describe. The painting knife handle was sticking out of me. Where the blade entered the skin, paint flecked away instead of blood. Instinct kicked in, and I fought like a wildcat, slashing and stabbing, dragging my knife through that other me in a slicing motion, again and again. The other me opened its mouth in a scream, but all I heard was the ragged sound of canvas ripping. It made a final effort to cut through me, but then my last slice tore into. It went limp, only a ragged piece of canvas. I was bleeding from the deep gash in my belly. I believe I lost consciousness. Paramedics later told me they found me on the floor, bleeding from a knife wound. Draped over me was a canvas that I had apparently cut free from the broken frame. They made me get a psych eval. You see, there was no evidence of anyone else in my apartment. The authorities believe that I got angry at the painting, tore it apart, and somehow accidentally stabbed myself in my frenzy. When I finally returned home, the painting, the broken frame, what was left of the canvas, were gone. Not a trace of them. Not a scrap. And I've been wondering ever since. What would have happened if I hadn't woken up? Was it going to kill me? Or was it going to somehow put me in the painting? Perhaps take my place? I'll never know, because the painting is gone. Gone, gone. From my life, at least. But here's the thing. One of my friends sent me a link recently. Told me they stumbled across it on our website. The painting is back up on sale. For the love of God, do not buy. The end.
Oh my God. What in the doppelganger painting is that?
I know, right?
Oh my God, that would make me so angry too.
Also, I kind of thought of you when they noticed that the painting was crooked, and I'm like, yeah, I know that it's like cursed or whatever, but it needs to be straight.
Robert, I don't like this painting.
It's pissing me off.
That's so funny though.
When I read that, I giggled a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "Yep, there she is."
Oh, I'm honored. I'm touched. Truly.
But yeah, I want to know how the painting got out of there.
I know.
Or if it's like a new one, or I don't know. It's a weird one.
And it's just like endless. It's it can't be destroyed, can't be created. It can just change forms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
I also
mimic.
want to know. I too would like to know though, what was the plan there? If he didn't wake up, like, are we putting him inside the painting?
Oh, just crazy guy.
Is he what makes up the painting now? Does it
take him over?
I want to know. It's just like a hydrate me situation.
Just extremely dehydrated, I promise, guys.
I just want to know, okay?
And then him just it's just like a mix of everything I wear, and I'm like trying to imagine that. I don't know. Like a little more detail on that one, just because I'm curious.
I don't know.
But
for me, that was easy because I wear black or dark gray. That's it. I could understand that one a little bit.
Is it wearing sweatpants? Because then. But yeah, like I said, that is a new author we haven't had yet, and make sure you go check them out. They have a lot of really good work, actually.
It was a really fantastic read. I'm glad you found that and shared it.
All right, I think it's time for yours now.
I know,
your last one.
I'm gonna finish us off here with a little more CaveLice. Start good and good. Something evil is stealing my money, so I know this is gonna be
something evil is stealing my money too, but it's the government.
For real. It's called taxes.
It's called taxes.
This is written by an accountant for no, just kidding. Are you ready?
They're like, girl, stop buying things off Etsy.
It's your problem, not mine.
All right. I'm
Okay.
ready.
All right. Let me just shake it all out. Okay. Something evil is stealing my money. We were losing money at an unbelievable rate. Our car's transmission died. Our infant ended up in the hospital with the flu. Then a bed bug infestation hit our apartment and forced us to relocate. I was stressed and didn't know what to do, so I drove to a nearby church. The place had the design of a typical evangelical establishment, ugly carpet and ugly chairs. I hadn't been to church in years, but the sudden crisis made me think maybe I should pray. There was a woman in the back of the sanctuary who was mumbling. She seemed more desperate than I was. The quiet trickle of a fountain sent relaxing vibes into the atmosphere. I closed my eyes, trying to imagine what to say. If you're there, God, help me. That's when I felt a light tapping on my shoulder. I turned and saw an old man in a turtleneck and jeans. He looked like an artsy film critic from the East Coast. He stared at me with a dead serious expression, a pair of bottle-thick spectacles balanced across his nose. You all right, son? I didn't know if he was a pastor or not, so I shrugged. Not really. My wife and I are having money problems. I wanted to come in and give a prayer a try. I see. He looked around, acting suspicious. I hope it doesn't feel like your money is slipping away. Actually, it does. Or that your money keeps getting taken no matter what you do. That's exactly how I feel. I was taken aback by his accuracy. It must mean that the devourer is after you. The devourer. The man glanced both ways, then pulled me aside. The same thing happened to me years ago. A handful of crises crippled my finances. It took my wife and I years to get back on track. How'd you break free? The corner of his lip shot up, as if pulled by string. You starve the devourer, and it goes away. Starve it. You take all your money and give it to someone who needs it more than you, and you keep on doing it until you break free. I left the chapel feeling inspired but confused. The man's words seemed counterintuitive. Give my money away? But wasn't that my problem? Every time I got cash, an issue came up and I eliminated it. I returned home and sat in front of the television, struggling to think. Eventually, my wife came in and I informed her about the artsy man's instructions. I was surprised when she said, well, our financial situation can't get any worse. Why don't we give it a try? My biweekly deposit arrived on Friday. It was enough to cover groceries and half of next month's rent. I was nervous, but desperate to break the curse, so my wife and I found our donation target. It was a neighbor who had always seemed to be stuck in a financial trauma. I knocked at her front door and introduced myself. Excuse me, I smiled, trying not to intimidate her. My wife and I just lived down the block. We felt like we were supposed to give you this. I handed her the envelope and she took it, surprised. It's $2,000. I hope it helps. I returned home and found our infant sitting in my wife's lap, eating yogurt. How'd it go? Fine, she was grateful, but I'm nervous. We have to make our groceries last for 2 weeks, and all our next paycheck will have to go toward rent. Exactly. I sat down by my wife and rested a hand on my bouncing knee. Are we insane for trying this? She said, brushing the hair from her face. Probably, but let's give it a shot and see what happens. That night, I stopped by the church. I wanted to see the old man and tell him about our progress. I went in and spotted him near the back, reading a book. How'd it go? He asked as I approached. You seem like you've won $1,000,000. I did what you suggested. I gave all my paycheck away and I feel better, like something good is about to happen. Incredible. He rubbed his hands together like he was trying to start a fire. The curse must be starting to lift. Gift even more next time and your breakthrough will continue. Next time. Imagine how much farther you could go. Who knows? All your financial problems might vanish in the next few days. The following Thursday arrived, and my wife and I were at the end of our sanity. Rent was due soon, and our money was gone. We had just one bag of rice and a can of beans in the cupboard. Don't worry, I rubbed her shoulder. Something will come through. We just need to have faith. We don't need faith, we need money. I know, but we've done everything we could to fix our situation. Have we? My wife turned away, tears filling her eyes. Your obsession with this curse is killing us. Our infant screamed as she spilled a bowl of yogurt on the floor. I don't care what you do, but fix this. She hurried over to clean up the mess. I want our lives back. Now. I slammed my fist into the glove box as I drove, rage coursing through my body. The formula isn't working. I sped through our neighborhood, thoughts bursting in my brain. I need to talk to the artsy man. He'll know what to do. The church seemed darker now as I pulled in. I got out and crept to the front door and pulled the handle, but it was locked. You're giving up, aren't you? A voice hissed from the shadows. I turned, startled. There was an intimidating figure concealed in the darkness. I wanted to talk with someone. The person stepped forward. It was the artsy fellow. His eyes held a demented gleam. It's so amazing that you came here, searching for answers. The menace in his voice caused my knees to buckle. You were so desperate that you took the advice of a complete stranger. I backed away, feeling the skin on the back of my neck pimple. I don't want any trouble. He laughed. I could have asked you to sacrifice your wife and child, and you would have done it. He adjusted his sleeve, revealing a cultic symbol on his arm. Who are you? Some call me an evil spirit, others a tormentor, but I personally like the term devourer. He made a shark-like grin and tore the skin from his face. In place of his human-like visage was a green and scale-like surface, the anatomy of a reptile. Oh God, help. I turned and ran, but a firm grip seized my shoulder and threw me to the ground. I'm going to take everything from you. A forked tongue slithered between its lips, licking my face, and there's nothing you can do about it. I reached forward, desperate, and grabbed a hold of the slithering tongue and pulled. Snap! Blood splashed my face as the creature screeched and lurched back, clutching its jaws. I pushed myself free, sprinting towards the car, still clutching its tongue in my fist. I was on the road in seconds. When I got home, my wife was packing up our infant in the car. Where are you going? I dashed toward her out of breath. I'm sorry, I can't do this. She buckled up our child, shut the door. I know I've made a mistake. I fell to my knees, forgetting that my face and chest were drenched in blood. What the? She leapt back, horrified. Are you hurt? No, I can explain. I heard a deep, sinister laugh. It was coming from across the street. I turned, noticing a lizard, or a snake, something much larger than any reptile I had ever seen. It was crawling on all fours, slithering across the roof of a neighbor's house. It looked like a cross between a giant serpent and a frilled lizard. Are you seeing this? Just get in the car. My wife motioned to the door, and don't stop driving. We leapt in and soon found ourselves speeding down the road. Seriously, what is that? I don't know. I glanced back, hoping to see the devourer grow smaller in the distance, but instead, it was getting closer, growing in size, and its mouth was open. I'll never know how my wife and I got away. We must have driven for hours. We're at a friend's house now. I've told him everything, and of course he doesn't believe me. My wife thinks my talking about this won't do any good, but I wanted to post something out here to warn you all. The devourer is real, and it's hungry. Be warned, if a stranger comes up to you at your darkest hour and gives you the same financial advice, run. It's him, and he won't stop until everything you have is gone. The end.
It was the government and their lizard people. I knew it.
It was the government and their lizard people.
I knew it. I called it.
And they used the church.
Explained everything. I need to message them and be like, I know what you're talking about.
Oh my God.
What do you know? What do you know that I don't know?
Oh, the horror of this one is the realism.
I know, right?
Realism of it.
It's the government and they're all lizard people. I knew it.
Oh.
I'm so good at guessing the stories.
I just can't believe it ripped out its tongue. Like, instincts, though, like survival instincts are crazy on this one. Because what do you mean you ripped and took it with you? Like, you don't believe me? Look at this.
I would love to know how he tried to explain that to his wife, though. That's what I want to know. I want to know I want to know the car ride conversation after that.
Do you think they listen to like music? Just like empty
podcasts.
Not even the babies making noise in the back. Just like the atmosphere is heavy.
Oh, that was
Worst car
good.
ride
I'm
ever.
sorry. As soon as you said he ripped his mask off and he is like reptile, I was like, it's the government. I knew it. It was them all along.
That was my thought too when I read it. I was just
I
like, oh
knew
my
it.
god.
Oh, that was good though. That was
It was.
different. Very different.
It was like a little more like I don't know. I feel like I needed to lighten it up after like being so gory. I'm not used to the gore.
Yeah. Government. I'm on to you.
All right.
I'm on to you.
Oh wait, we do have an announcement.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have decided that we are going to start a new series. It may be a limited run series or it might go somewhere. We're going to see how it goes. We are going to be diving into the world of the SCPs.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what that is, that's okay, because when we start the series, we're going to explain what the SCPs are.
Yeah. We'll do a little education course, and before we get into any of the spooky, scary stuff, don't worry.
Yeah, so the first episode will kind of be us explaining where it comes from, what it's all about, all that stuff. And then the rest of the series is we're each going to pick, kind of how we do now. We're going to each pick an SCP and we're going to talk about them and share some stories that people have shared about the certain SCPs. That's like literally all I've been listening to for the past 2 days.
I know, you mentioned it and I was just like, yeah, I think that would be interesting. And then I started looking and I was like, oh,
I made my husband and I went to the mall today and I made him listen to SCP stories on YouTube on the way there and the way back.
You know what? I'm sure he appreciated it.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Well,
but anyways,
I think that's all.
That's it for us this week. If you are listening on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. It helps us out a lot. All that good stuff.
Yes, and if you happen to be one of our Spotify listeners, feel free to, give us some feedback after, leave a comment. Yeah, just let us know what you think.
We are slowly getting more organized, so.
I know.
We also have a Discord that you can join.
Oh,
and through the Discord, you can submit your own stories, real or not real.
Mm-hmm. We also give, quicker updates about our stories and stuff like that. And soon there will be some behind the scenes, podcast highlights in the archives going on in there. So feel free to join.
Yeah, come hang out with us. Mm-hmm. But I think that we're going to be it for now. We'll be back next week with, I think we're doing a couple of series next week. So.
I think so.
We both have series. All right. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for listening. Bye.